Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and this is our TNA show for the week. First off, we're going to start off with the so-so segments. Basically the stuff that's not bad, it's not good, it's just there. First thing we want to talk about is the Kurt Angle Hall of Fame speech, which was okay. Ethan Carter III came out, and I know they're trying to shoot him right to the top with being involved with Angle and Sting and people of that ilk. I think he's got something. I think he's going to be someone that could be a good talent going forward. I don't know he's on the level of Kurt Angle yet. And it kind of showed in this interview. And it showed in this segment. But just okay segment. They really should have treated Kurt Angle's Hall of Fame segment with more respect and more class and dignity. Realistically, Kurt Angle's done more for TNA than just about anybody not named Jeff Jarrett. He's the first guy that really gave them that sense of like being on par with the WWE. You had guys leave like Jeff Hardy and Christian before him and jump ship, but they weren't guys that were as over in the WWE at the time as Kurt Angle was. Kurt Angle left on top of the WWE and came into TNA. Just saying, he should have been offered a little bit more respect along the lines of what they did with Sting. Next up, we had our Divas Tag Team match. Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky versus Lady Tapa and Alpha Female. The two Giants, Tapa and Female, win. It was an okay match. I don't think it was given quite enough time. We seen after the match interference, and then Gail Kim came in, ODB came in, basically turning it into a clusterfuck and ruining what was already not a great match, but just didn't hit on all cylinders for me. Next up, we're going to go into our bad portion of the show. And really, there was only one thing I didn't like, and that was the beginning segment with MVP and Samoa Joe and Magnus. Again, I dislike them starting off the show with these talking angles. They could start any wrestling show any way they want. I don't know why this is the standard now. Now, coming from that, we're going to go into our question of the week. The question of the week last week was, with all the Willow vignettes, are you guys excited to see the new character, the new version of Jeff Hardy? Now, we got some answers from our friends. First is from our friend Silver84. I think Hardy is so stale right now, character-wise, anything different would be interesting. Next up is from our friend Handsome Pat Fannin. Fuck no. Willow will be everything bad about Jeff Hardy times 10. And last but not least, our friend Lord Bogglesworth. Although Willow is an interesting idea for a character, it reminds me too much of what the Wyatt family is in the WWE. Also, Jeff Hardy as a character is already so over with the crowd and has been for years that an alter ego type persona would be hard to take seriously. Other than Omega, I've only seen this play out in wrestling one other time. He tried the Willow character in Ring of Honor and got booed out of the building really quickly. I just don't see it. To me, it's like Handsome Pat Fannin said. I think this is everything that's bad about Jeff Hardy in one character. We know Jeff's music, and if you like it, I'm sorry, his music is not good. His artwork, not good either. I mean, I don't knock the guy for putting out the stuff that he enjoys and likes to do. To me, his artwork is a knockoff of a lot of the tattoo style and graffiti style that we seen prevalent in the 90s, and his music is a knockoff of what we've seen with the industrial style heavy metal of the 90s. And I think this Willow character is kind of in that genre too, kind of a knockoff of a horror video game villain from the 90s, kind of like something you would have seen in the Silent Hill series. I'll give it a shot. I really don't think it'll be anything good. I think it'll probably go a couple months, but knowing TNA, they'll probably stretch it out over 2 years. Just, I don't know. Jeff Hardy himself, like they said, is over. He is someone that is a bankable, marketable character. I don't know why they would want to mess with this format they have already. Our question of the week for next week is, WWE has seemingly fired the first shot in the Thursday Night Wars, so to speak. The WWE Network, they aired NXT Arrival versus TNA show. They came on at 8, TNA came on at 9. Not a direct competition head-to-head, but enough of an overlap of the two shows that they were against each other. And going forward, from what I am to understand, NXT's weekly show will be going on at the same time. So basically, every Thursday night we're going to get NXT on the WWE Network versus TNA on Spike TV. Now the question of the week simply is this. Which one are you going to be watching Thursday nights? Are you going to watch NXT or TNA? Even if you watch both, you got to DVR one or watch on demand later one. But one of them you're going to try and watch live, or as live as it can be for tape shows. Which one are you going with? Are you going to go with TNA or NXT? Did NXT show you enough, if that was your first time watching it, that they won you over? Or are you a TNA fan big enough that you're going to stick with TNA? Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter. Put it down where? Down there in the comments. Now we're going to go into the good segments of the nights. First we had the American Wolves versus Bad Influence versus the Bromans. Decent match. Bromans pick up the win in the match. I thought it was good. I really enjoy where they're going with the tag division. I'd like to see them add one or two other more teams into the division. Kind of make up for the teams we've had break up over the last few months with Guerrero and Hernandez and Storm and Gunner breaking up. I'd like to see them bring in some more tag talent. There's some great tag talent on the indies that they could bring in easily. Bromans pick up the win. I honestly think they're getting better and better, and they're constantly improving in a rate that they're becoming something I look forward to on the show. Speaking of that, we gave them part of the so-so segment earlier. We had Ethan Carter III versus Doug Williams. I enjoyed the match. I enjoyed that they brought back Doug Williams. I think Doug is tremendously underrated as a character. I think he's someone among the lines of Fit Finlay and William Regal that just hasn't had his just dues in America. Ethan Carter picks up the win. I thought it was good for him to win over a guy of Doug Williams' caliber, especially with the name recognition he has in TNA. He's done a lot in TNA. Don't get me wrong. He's been a guy that they've used to win championships multiple times, and I think that's going to help Ethan Carter in the long run. This is the kind of competition Ethan Carter should be up against, not quite Kurt Angle yet. Now, coming off that, we had two separate segments. The interview in ring with James Storm and Gunner, explaining kind of why he did it, blah blah blah, why Storm cost Gunner the match. He felt that Gunner disrespected him getting the title. He thought he owed him a receipt. Then we get their little fracas later in the night. It's all going to lead to a Storm and Gunner match at Lethal Lockdown, which I think will be excellent. I think James Storm has tremendously helped Gunner's career, and I think it'll help him going forward even more. Now, we had our weekly Samoa Joe segment. Samoa Joe, they're building back up from the ground to make him an indestructible force again, this time against a German wrestler named Bad Bones. I thought it was a good match. I kind of liked what Bad Bones had going for him. I thought again, we get to see Samoa Joe go back to the Samoa Joe we know and love. which is why it's in the good segment, which is setting him up for the match against Magnus at the pay-per-view Lethal Lockdown. I think it'll help. It'll do wonders for Samoa Joe if he can wrestle back the World Championship. Next up, we had a segment with Samuel Shaw, Chrissy Hemme, and Mr. Anderson. Shaw being his basic creepy self, saying he's only trying to protect Hemme from all the other guys and how they look at her as a sex object. Brings out Anderson, who he attacked the week before. They get into a little thing. Samuel Shaw puts him in the standing sleeper hold move. I forget what they're calling it. But an impressive move nonetheless, because it gives us a look at his face and the facial reactions he does and the way he looks at Chrissy Hemme. I think it's interesting. As you've seen in the past, I've thoroughly enjoyed this character and the development of it. I want to see a lot more going forward. I think he could be a breakout star. Next up, we have Robert Roode versus MVP with Austin Aries as special referee. The caveat going into the match was Aries was either going to join Roode's team for Lethal Lockdown or MVP's team. We find out near the end of the match when he turns on MVP that he's joined up with Bobby Roode. I don't know if I'm so happy about this. I thought it was done well, don't get me wrong. The issue I have is we just had James Storm turn last week. Now we have Austin Aries doing a heel turn again this week. Kinda starts to lose impact when you get these guys doing it so rapidly. I think he's going to add a lot to the match. I think he's a tremendous wrestler. Like I said, in a vacuum, in a standalone show, it would have been good. Just 2 weeks in a row didn't really do it for me. The match, I thought itself was pretty good. MVP's been spot on since coming back to wrestling. Decent match. Good ending. A little bit of an overkill, kind of. Like I said, 2 turns with 2 big name stars in 2 weeks is kind of too much. But let's go right into our rating system. Now, if you've seen the show before, you know we have a 1 to 5 scale. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. 1's a Garrett Bischoff, 2's a Jesse Goddard, 3's a James Storm, 4's a Christopher Daniels, 5's a Bobby Roode. I'm giving this a 4, a Christopher Daniels. I thought the show was pretty solid. I thought TNA is starting to build and put solid shows and string them together, which is something I've complained about in the past that they haven't been able to do. I think going forward, they need to just keep the momentum going and keep it rolling down the tracks and get this train on the way. And I think that they could be well back on their way to being a solid alternative to the other wrestling show. But basically, that's all I have to say about this. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.